But clearly, Keir Starmer has got a view on the kind of cold, hard politics of, wanting to do business with the Trump administration and keeping on side with him.
The Prime Minister has refused to say whether the actions of the United States in Venezuela has broken international law. So Keir Starmer has said he is waiting to establish all of the facts, but that he is shedding no tears over the end of Maduro's rule in Venezuela. Let's get the thoughts now of Joe Mays, Bloomberg's UK political correspondent. Morning, Joe.
Good morning.
This is a difficult line for Keir Starmer and indeed the government to tread, isn't it?
Yes, I think you'd think that Keir Starmer's natural instincts as someone who's worked in the legal profession for all his life is that a flagrant breach of international law is to be condemned. But then you have clearly this line issued overnight by Downing Street, which is that, we shed no tears about the end of this regime, and clearly a continuing of walking the diplomatic fine line of not angering Donald Trump and maintaining this US-UK relationship that Starmer has worked hard on, especially at a time when the fate of Ukraine is in the balance still and US support is needed there. So, yeah, it's a classic case of having to do some real diplomacy here by the British government, and yet Starmer walking that fine line while being criticised by opposition parties in the UK for not taking a tougher stance.
And it is just a bit bizarre because when you read through the reactions from political leaders around the world today, obviously China and Russia condemning it, saying Maduro should be released. Keir Starmer, obviously, as you say, sort of slightly holding back. But the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, saying he's deeply alarmed and warning of a dangerous precedent, urging respect for international law. I mean, normally Keir Starmer is repeating what the UN says. For him not to be, that's a bit uncomfortable as well.
Yes, I think so. I think that the precedent point here is that if you support what Trump has done in Venezuela, you're effectively supporting the idea that states can use military force and aggression to achieve their aims rather than peaceful politics, which is what you'd think normally should be the case. So even if you dislike a regime, you should prefer instead the higher order principle that nevertheless those issues should be dealt with peacefully. So that's why we're in a slightly dangerous situation here. And that's why a lot of the criticisms are being made. But clearly, Keir Starmer has got a view on the kind of cold, hard politics of, wanting to do business with the Trump administration and keeping on side with him.
Now, the Prime Minister has written in the Sunday Times today, talking about cost of living, talking about how he wants more of us and believes more of us will start to feel richer this year. What's he saying? Because it's quite a hard sell, isn't it?
Yeah, he's really saying that the job of government is very tough, and you as the voters might have been told in previous years on the Conservatives that it's an easy thing that can be fixed with, snappy slogans and short-term fixes. And he's arguing that's just not true, and that the country has to go through quite a hard period of trying to turn things around. But he's saying this year you will begin to feel that, and he's focusing on the cost of living. But it is a hard sell because it's quite a negative message if you think about it. It's almost asking the British people to be quite stoic for now, and then things will turn around. I think you read between the lines of this op-ed, and he's also speaking to potential leadership challenges, I think, saying, look, you're saying you could do a better job, but, this is hard, but we are making progress. So for me, this is also a moment where Keir Starmer is addressing that issue as well.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be a tricky year, tricky few months ahead for the government and for Keir Starmer. So it'll be interesting to see if that starts to cut through. We should also talk about some polling with Mumsnet. I mean, Mumsnet, traditionally known as pretty left-leaning mums, but actually more of them are now supporting Reform UK, which many people will find surprising. It's quite a leap to go from left-leaning to Reform UK.
Yeah, this is quite a striking finding. And if anything, a real kind of canary in the coal mine if you want to see how reform support is rising. This is the first time since the Mumsnet political poll began in 2009 that shows Labour being usurped by any other party. So really quite significant. And for me, shows that reform is gaining support in areas where you might not expect. And the issues highlighted by Mumsnet's poll are cost of living, immigration. Yeah, these are things that really matter to working families around the country. And it's showing up in this kind of support.
We should also talk about a council leader for Reform UK, runs Durham County Council, Andrew Husband, who has got himself in a little bit of trouble with his own personal companies.
Yes, a classic Gabriel Pogron's investigation to someone's business affairs, and showing here that Andrew Husband, as you say, runs Durham County Council, kind of ran a political campaign on his business acumen and has been leading this kind of Doge-style effort to cut spending in Durham County Council, but nevertheless has his own business affairs, which, as Gabe was reporting here, are in a questionable state, with companies owing millions of pounds of money to the tax, to HMRC, to other small businesses. So it's quite embarrassing look for reform when you have a character like this who has that kind of business background. So yeah, it's not a great look.
Yeah, 2 companies placed in administration owing £1.5 million, more than £500,000 in tax, as well as government-backed COVID loans and staff pay. As you say, not a good look. Joe, thank you so much as ever. That's Joe Mays, Bloomberg's UK political correspondent.
Mis dos panas, tenemos acá al pana Eduardo Espinel de Don Cachapo, una bulla, ¿no?
¡Por todos los venezolanos! ¡Viva Venezuela!
Bueno, señor.
Mi hermano, vamos a enviar arepa café. Guarden una arepa y guarden un café. Vamos para allá en un rato. Ya, Ricardo. Así que vamos a darle. Tengo una arepa ready por ahí. Salaron de Ricardo de tu parte. Vamos al frente de la casa. Yo sé. Ay, gracias. ¡Feliz año! Es un personaje.